What up, sports fans all over the world? It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. I'm here with my guys, the Horsemen, Adam Costas, Zion Zenith, and y'all know always looking down on us, shining that bright light, NYG Jeffy T. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go. Happy Groundhog Day, everybody. By the way,
Oh, it is Groundhog Day.
It is. I found out there is a Staten Island Chuck. So we have Puxatawny film that most people know, and then apparently there's a Staten Island Chuck. So the movie Groundhog Day 2 will be starring Staten Island Chuck and Bill Murray, an older Bill Murray, but Bill Murray again will be in the Groundhog 2 starring Staten Island Chuck.
Interesting. Coach Ed in the house. What's up,
What's up, Coach? How's it going,
sir?
Coach Ed?
Let's get it. Well, before we begin, guys, our normal show, we do have urgent news that we want to address real fast. We lost What's Up Reality Check. Thank you so much for being here as well. We lost what some would say a legend in the world of Hollywood, you know, and since this is a sports show, he did play a really big part in a famous in some famous boxing movies, and we're gonna touch on sports wise. We're gonna touch on the passing of Coral Weathers. I mostly know him for recently in his work in The Mandalorian. But obviously everybody remembers him for his great performance in Rocky. So I want to ask the boys, what your guys' thoughts on the passing of Cold Weathers? Rumors are coming out that he did pass away in his sleep at the age of 71. If I stand corrected, if I'm correct. But what's your guys' thoughts on losing Cold Weathers?
Well, first,
it sucks. February.
It sucks because
76 at the age of 76. I'm sorry.
It sucks because he's in The Mandalorian right now, so that kind of sucks. But he also was in Billy Madison. All right, one of the best. Not Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
Happy Gilmore. One of the best golf movies of all time, and he plays a vital role in that film. And I know many people know him from Apollo Creed. You know, obviously the famous boxer in Rocky, who kind of is the villain in the first one, and then they come together in the second one and become good friends, and obviously the spin-offs of movies. So it's kind of sad to hear about a guy. And, you know, my son, this is for my son. I know he's not listening, but maybe one day he will. Combat Carl. We lost Combat Carl today. Combat Carl is, if you don't know, a Toy Story character that Carl Weathers voices. Yes. Voices the name. So Combat Carl is who he does. So that's a shout out to my son. I know that he'll miss Combat Carl and his voice. So.
Yes, and also absolutely. And Mac, what's your thoughts on it? His recent appearance was in The Mandalorian. But as you see on screen right now, he did some video game appearances. He did a lot of TV, and in majority of his work in movies. What's your thoughts on his passing, Mac?
I mean, another legend, man. Carl Weathers is another great, iconic character. I mean, especially in the sports movies, sports world. He always had a presence. Obviously, he's done so many great things that you guys talking about. Most recently, being a part of The Mandalorian.
This is the way.
But obviously, a lot of people know Carl Weathers mostly from his iconic character, probably his most iconic character, Apollo Creed, in the Rocky movies. Like you said, they carried that legacy all the way through to where they then had a trilogy of movies based off of his character, and it was his character's son. And so
crazy.
Carl Weathers. That's just another. Like I said, I can't believe I'm just hearing about this news. Just like
it kind of just broke before we went live. Yeah.
But yeah, apparently he passed away at some point yesterday. Like you said, in his sleep, I guess. And it's just
Oh
another
man,
just tough loss in the entertainment world, man. It's Carl Weathers was definitely he's awesome dude. Like you just never forget. Like I said, the Apollo Creed character, man. What he just did with that character, man, was just so super dope,
yeah,
man. The way he embraced that character, that energy. It just he just brought that character to life on the screen, man.
it's pretty
It was just like I
iconic.
said,
Yo, no
yeah,
homo, but there's like not even an inch of body fat on him. Whoa. Continue though.
and
No homo.
as coach also put in the chat earlier,
He played for the Raiders?
Did play for the Raiders,
I didn't even know that.
and
That's where they usually get their start,
yeah,
and at least in this era of movies. Can't forget the Predator, man. He was good in that.
The Predator, yes, that's a good one as
the
well.
Predator, I mean, he was good in a lot. He was good in a lot of things, man. He did a lot of stuff, man. Carl always definitely did a lot of stuff, man. He had a lot of stuff out there, like you said, TV, movies, everything, man. So
You're
he
right.
did a little bit of everything. I mean, he was versatile, very versatile
I think
actor
Hey,
as well,
multiple
man.
roles.
Didn't just limit himself.
I want to touch on
Exactly.
something you said, Mac, and that was that he brought Apollo Creed to life. And why I want to touch on that is because for when that movie came out, there weren't that many flamboyant type of athletes. And so the fact that he could embody that in boxing, be a champion and showcase it on a big screen and really bring, like you said, that character to life. That character for me is growing up is like the best. He was fast. He's speedy. He was the
No
champion.
Mets in the house.
You know, right? So I just wanted to say that was one of the moments where I was like, man, this guy is great because you could take a character that, I mean, everybody likes Rocky, whatever, but Apollo Creed kind of is his own figure, is his own person. So I just wanted to touch that. That was a great point by Mac. That's all.
I love it. And another thing Max said that I wanted to touch on, and you also said, his ability to play diverse roles. He's able to do kids Toy Story with Combat Cold. He's able to do Predator, play a army commander. He's able to play a boxer. And he's able to play a contractor killer for hiring all these assassins in Star Wars. And then on top of that, mixing in a bunch of comedy films and also dramas. So absolutely the Hollywood, the NFL even played for the Raiders. So, the entertainment world as a whole lost a great one with this one. And, I'm just happy to say that, he was able to see 76 years. I know a lot of we lost a lot of young actors, before the age of 25, a lot of young entertainers before the age of 25. So shout out to Cole's family. He looked like he had 76 amazing years, and then hopefully his legacy will live on. Any other final thoughts from you guys?
Touched on everything for me.
Nah, just
Absolutely.
condolences to his family, man,
Yeah.
friends, and everyone close to him, man. Just another tough one, man. Carl Weathers, rest in peace, brother.
Absolutely. So to kind of give you guys a rundown of the show, guys, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be recapping the Royal Rumble. We're going to spend a little bit of time on that. We're going to talk about not too much time on talking about these coaches because we talked about them over the last 2 weeks, but all 8 spots are filled. So we'll chime in a bit on that. We'll recap the championship games and we'll talk about a little bit about the NBA, guys. We're gonna have a Super Bowl special, but we're gonna kind of give our picks for the Super Bowl and all that fun stuff next week. But we're probably gonna we'll end the show previewing all of the NFL honors. Being that the NFL honors is gonna be on Thursdays, we'll be back on Friday with that Super Bowl special for you guys, and also recapping who won MVP and all that fun stuff. So on this show, we'll kind of give our prediction on MVP, on Offensive Player of the Year, and all that fun stuff as well. So let's probably begin with the coaching. Now, all 8 coaches has been officially hired. All spots are taken up. We don't have to spend too much time on that since we kind of dabbled into it over the past couple of weeks, guys. But any spot that you guys see among the list that you guys want to talk about, Mac, we're gonna start with you when we come back. Let's get it. So those are all 8 coaches. We had 4 from the AFC, 4 from the NFC. What's your thoughts? The list is down below. What's your thoughts on any one of these coaches? If you want to touch on anyone, you want to touch on the list, just give your thoughts on some of these coaches. Dan Quinn being the latest.
Well, I'm just gonna start with Dan Quinn, the latest. So it's almost kind of weird here. It seems like he kind of was, almost had to settle for Washington, so to speak. And to be quite honest, I mean, sure he's happy to take the position and be the head coach of the Washington Commanders now. But let's face it, we know who Washington really wanted. Once Ben Johnson closed that door, I mean, it was just almost like, okay, we'll take you. We'll take you, Dan Quinn. We'll settle for you since Ben Johnson doesn't want to come here. But other than, I mean, I don't know. Other than that, it's just interesting move there. I was thinking Washington would definitely be looking more to more offensive minded head coach. Seeing how he expecting to get a new quarterback in there, you would think they'd want somebody with a more stronger offensive mind to be able to help and guide him. I don't know what kind of role Eric Bieniemy is. He still going to have a role with this team? Is he still going to be a part of this staff? I'm not sure how these what's going on there, these kind of moves. So we'll figure it out. But Washington, I really expected definitely them to lean more. I would have expected them more so to just really go out there and get somebody that was definitely more of an offensive guru. But we'll see how this all works out. I mean, let's face it, they had their issues on defense as well. So maybe Dan Quinn can help get at least that side of the ball back in order, man, back in check. I mean, McDonald out there in Seattle, another interesting move. I honestly thought that was definitely going to be the spot for Dan Quinn. I thought for sure that was been Dan Quinn's landing spot. But the Seattle Seahawks, man, once again, they fooled me a little bit there. Brought in McDonald. I mean, we'll see how that works out for them. Decent hiring, I suppose, on paper. I think Ben Johnson coming out and basically saying that he was going back to Detroit, I think that just really threw a big monkey wrench in the things for Seattle and Washington. I think that that just kind of, made them have to really reevaluate what they wanted to do and how they wanted to go about things. I think that they both those were obviously the 2 teams that were clearly seeming to be waiting, holding out, trying to get in on the Ben Johnson sweepstakes once Detroit lost a week ago. So I think that really just screwed everything up. And I think, but before, I don't want to go too much. Speaking about Ben Johnson too, I think that was actually kind of maybe a good move for him. If the jobs that you truly want aren't really out there, and that's not really what's going to make you happy, is to move on to places, those places. You're in a good situation in Detroit. You're part of a team that has a legitimate chance to come out next year and really be a factor in the NFC once again. And why not? You got so close this year. You want to take another shot at it while you're in position and have an opportunity to do so. I mean, that does sound a little better to him than going and trying to rebuild this Washington football team or going out and following a legend in Pete Carroll in Seattle, So I think Ben Johnson, that was actually a smart decision by Ben Johnson. Good move by him to maybe fall back for one more year, take the offensive coordinator duties in Detroit once again, and then go out there and once again, he's going to be a hot shot candidate again next year. Once again, a very highly sought out person for head coaching positions, and maybe something will open up that's more suited for what he's looking for, what he wants to do, man. So that's really all I got. I don't really need to talk about the rest of those guys that we've already talked about before. So
I love it. What's your thoughts on that, Adam?
Well, Max said most of it. What I want to look at is a different angle. The coaches who are not hired, the Belichicks, the Bravels, the guys that we thought were going to, maybe the Pete Carrolls, if you're looking at them, those guys are kind of interesting to me that they're not hired, because there's some jobs that I think would have benefited from a Mike Vrabel or maybe a Bill Belichick or things like that. So that's kind of interesting to me. I think next coaching cycle is going to be interesting. The Giants got denied a coach because he was worried about apparently the lame duck status of Brian Dable, which never bodes well for you when people think that. So what I'm getting to is that next year's coaching staffs might be available to come out again, right? So for me, I'm looking at like if I'm New York and I'm Joe Shane and I know that I'm probably going to be here, but Brian Dable's not. I get my quarterback, and the next year I get the chance of maybe getting a Ben Johnson, or maybe getting a Mike Vrabel, or getting a guy in here that already can, have some type of history. And I think that's what they'll do next year. If they do that, they'll go with an offensive mind, or they'll go with a Mike Vrabel and say, pick your offensive coordinator type of guy, because that's what they'll do. But I don't want to divert too much to that. But one thing I will say about Dan Quinn, people are laughing about. He does know about good offense. He did have Kyle Shanahan as his offense coordinator in Atlanta, all right, and they helped develop Matt Ryan. So with that move, it doesn't necessarily mean they won't pick a quarterback in the draft. It might signal that, but Dan Quinn might say, screw this. I want to bring in Russell Wilson. I'll draft, trade down a couple spots, get Joe Alt at number 6 and build my offensive line, and then get my quarterback like a Spencer Rattler in the second round. And then, because I can then re-sign Jacoby Brissett and kind of win like that, like build his team. Because if he wants to do that, build the offensive line, because he came from the Cowboys, he obviously already knows what it takes. Not saying he's not going to take Drake May, not saying they don't want to take a quarterback. Doesn't mean they won't. It just means maybe they'll, when you're a team like that and you have a defensive-minded coach, things are different, and you need to benefit. Like, look at it over in the Texans. DeMeco Ryans got a great offensive coordinator who really helped improve C.J. Stroud, who already was good, but put in the right system made that team exponentially better. So I think they'll do the smart thing and get a quarterback, but Dan Quinn could change that up. You never know with free agency.
I like that. Great points, guys. I do want to touch on a little bit. So it looks like I totally forgot his name. Oh my God, Juan Rivera. It looks like Juan Rivera is going to be interviewing for a job as the defensive coordinator for Dallas. I'm not making that up. So they might have just switched places. And I do want to touch on what Adam said.
On that list too.
That would be hilarious.
And I do want to touch on what Adam said. Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick. The more research I did on this, I do agree with what Adam said. I think next year it's going to be a bomb coaching year for coaches getting hired. I think a lot of these teams this year was just losing organizations. Okay. I know it's been pathetic with our record over the last 10 years as a Giants fan, but if you look at some of these losing organizations, they don't want to give up control. Okay. When you bring in someone like Bill Belichick, when you bring in someone like Mike Vrabel, they want full control. They want to be a part of the draft process. They want full reins on who they hire. They want to kind of run it like Sean Payton with the New Orleans Saints. Okay. The way I look at it is some of these losing organizations, they don't want that. They want a team effort. They want everybody to contribute. And I do agree with that. I do agree that the front office should be involved and it should be a team effort. But then when you have some outliers like maybe like a Bill Belichick that actually built a dynasty. Yeah, some people can say it's Tom Brady. Some people can say it wasn't. I think that you kind of break the rules. When you're a team that hasn't touched the Super Bowl in forever, I mean, like, you got to take that chance. Like, I get it. You don't want to give up control, but sometimes you have to give up control. You know what? You know what San Diego did? Well, you know what Los Angeles Chargers they're doing? They're giving up control. They're going to buy in the Jim, whatever Jim says. They're going to buy into his culture. They're going to hire a GM, and they're going to get it going. That's what's going to happen. They're going to buy it. They gave up control. Los Angeles Chargers gave up control. They said, that guy's a national champion. We're going to give up control. Some of these losing organizations are going to continue to lose. But now, Dan Quinn, I do want to touch on him a little bit further. He had a successful record with Atlanta, and Mac touched on that. And that guy knows how to coach a football team. But I surely think when there's other candidates on the board, I understand why you would go Dan Quinn, but we'll see next year. All right. Any last words on that subject before we turn it into Wally the WWE man? Alrighty.
I'm good.
When we come back, it is WrestleMania season, and I'm a casual, but I come back around this time of year. Yes, I watched the Royal Rumble, I watched Monday Night War. I'm getting my back into it as a casual. It's WrestleMania season. So when we come back, we're gonna talk WrestleMania. I don't know how the boys are gonna like this poster, but I had to put this one up. Let's get it. Alrighty. We have yet again interference in the Roman Reigns, whatever dynasty it is now. I don't call it a dynasty because this guy, can't lose this. They don't want to see him lose for whatever. But I'm gonna just turn it over to you guys because I was happy with the winner of the Royal Rumble, but as a casual, I want to get the hardcore's perspective on it. So let's start with Adam first. Go right ahead, Adam.
Perspective on what again? I'm sorry.
Just of the Royal Rumble in general, just did you like it? Did you not like it? Was it lame?
The overall
Not lame?
excuse me, the overall pay-per-view wasn't bad. I thought it was interesting they started with the female match first, got it over with. But that Jade Cargill is the bomb. Like I missed her on AEW, I missed her run on AEW, but I always have been a fan of kind of like I hate saying I'm a wrestling. I don't hate saying I'm a wrestling fan. So I occasionally keep up with publications here and there that write news and rumors and stuff like that. I'm a nerd. So I knew Jade Cargill and who she was before coming over. But the fact that she came in here, the fact that she threw Nia Jax over the ring real quick, I loved it. And I hope she gets a title shot. They're probably going to pair her up with Bianca Belair or do something. They need to either clash immediately because that match would be awesome, or they're going to put them in a tag team and do that lame stuff that WWE does and kind of string them along as baby faces for a while. But I think she'd be a better heel. She's got the Storm persona. I like that. I think the Kevin Owens match, I like Kevin Owens. I think he should have won. I honestly, I know they saw the Knucks, but who really cares? You know what I mean? Like give him the win. 1, 2, 3. What are we doing here? Like, the referee's like freaking out. Oh, Kevin the Knucks. Like, give me a break. And now, basically, fast forward to the men's Royal Rumble. Although I have to give it up to Mac because he did call it. He said Bayley was going to win. He'd been saying that last week. Go check out our show.
Shout out to Mac.
He said Bayley is due to win the women's Royal Rumble, and she delivered. I'll let Mac touch on that when I'm finished my point. But the men's Royal Rumble, I enjoyed. I thought there would be more surprises. There was more surprises in the women's than there was the men's. Usually there's we had Edge come out and a few other people come out. Not many of those people came out. I didn't like how they wasted a spot on Pat McAfee. If that's how you're going to treat the Royal Rumble. I mean, I'm sorry. I'd rather have somebody that came down the ring and got thrown out or given a spot to somebody else, then waste time.
He already had his special appearance at the start of the show.
Right.
We don't need to do that again,
Right.
Just for him to hop out of the ring. Yeah.
I mean, Braun Breaker had a great showing. And then, of course, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. The news is CM Punk is hurt. I don't know if that's how true that is, but he is injured, so there won't be a match with him at WrestleMania. But Cody Rhodes gets his shot, and I don't know where he's going to go. I'm hoping they lean him towards Seth Rollins, because I would think him versus Seth Rollins, he'll definitely get the chance to get the title. Him versus Roman Reigns would be heartbreaking if he didn't get the title, but also would be stupid if he didn't get the title. Because if you're trying to get The Rock to come in here and do that stupid head of the table tease, they say I've heard rumors that's still on the table, no pun intended. So have Cody Rhodes go against Seth Rollins, let him win his title, let him finish his story. He fucking deserves it, and away you go.
Let's get it. Go ahead, Matt.
Royal Rumble was, overall, like you said, it was overall a decent show. For me, honestly, the only thing that brought the show down a little bit of a notch, honestly, was the men's Royal Rumble Battle Royal. For me, I thought it was, just got to be a bit boring for me. Like you said, not nearly enough surprises. Andrade was the only true surprise in the men's Royal Rumble. And yeah, it was a good surprise. Seeing him come back. But at the end of the day, you expect to see a little bit more. We did not need to see Omos in the Royal Rumble because Omos absolutely sucks. I mean, like you talking about wasted spots, that was a waste. That was a wasted spot as well. Just what are
Yes.
we doing here? Why do we keep bringing Omos back out? Like
But see,
nobody cares about Omos.
look at the
And
girls. All new characters. I have no idea who half of them are. Naomi comes back. This strong looking girl comes in. I don't know who she is from TNA.
Jordan Grace is the TNA Knockouts champion who actually won that title from Naomi, who was known as Trinity over there in
Can they do
Impact
that?
TNA slash TNA. Well, that's what they did. So
No, I
they
mean
did. She won the title.
isn't that a breach of contract?
No, I mean I guess they got some kind of agreement.
They have
Some
like
kind
a
of thing.
partnership,
Wrestled. Mickey James came in the Royal Rumble a couple of years ago when she was the knockout when she was the TNA Women's
Oh, did she
Champion
do
over
that?
there too. So
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, she
Maybe
did.
that's a new thing they do now.
And so yeah, Jordan Grace did win that title from Naomi a couple of weeks ago. It was Naomi's send-off match in TNA. She had a nice little run over there for some time, and she held their women's title for quite a while. Had a nice run. And that was her send-off match against Jordan Grace at their last pay-per-view, Impact's pay-per-view a couple weeks ago. And Jordan Grace came in and had a good showing in the Royal Rumble on Saturday night in the Women's Royal Rumble. Like you said, full of surprises in that match. Jay Cargill entered the ring, and what a debut for Jay Cargill, man. You said it all, man, Adam, about just she just came in and she just cleaned house. I mean, dominant performance by her. I mean, for a second, the way she came in, I was thinking, are they just going to do this right now and just give this thing to Jay Cargill? I mean, honestly, the way she just looked unstoppable, man.
Oh
She
my
came in
God.
eliminated Becky Lynch, eliminated Naomi, eliminated Nia Jax single-handedly, and it was really dope. What a way to really get her off and running on on in-ring stuff here in WWE. I don't know which brand she's going to ultimately start off with, whether she's going to stay be in NXT, be up here on Raw, SmackDown, but just a lot of good stuff in the Women's Royal Rumble match. Tiffany Stratton from NXT came in, and she had a good showing as well. Like a lot of said, I really enjoyed the Women's Battle Royal. It was actually surprisingly, to me, a lot better than
More
the men's. It was
entertaining.
more exciting to me, definitely. And I really did enjoy it. As far as the title match goes, see,
Ugh.
the end result obviously sucks. But overall, the match, we still got a really good match as well there. I mean, those
I'm
14
surprised it was
minutes
not after
they
the
put
men's
on,
Royal Rumble. I'm surprised.
they put on, yeah,
I'm
we thought
It's
that
even
was going to
before the
be.
KO fight.
I mean, yeah, I don't know why the placement of the match was kind of weird. I thought maybe that meant that one of the guys was going to end up being in Battle Royals as well, but that wasn't the case. But overall, that was a good, strong match. Roman Reigns ultimately came out on top. With a little bit of help by his little cousin Solo Sikoa coming down once again, saving Roman's ass.
I
But
hate that shit.
nonetheless, Roman got the nod. He wins the title. He knocks off AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and LA Knight, man. And I don't know where this leads to, where we go from here.
It's like you clobber all three
Since you're over
superstars.
WrestleMania, I mean, Cody Rhodes wins. Cody Rhodes wins the battle, the men's Royal Rumble for the second year straight. And now it all seemed like everything was pointing towards Roman Reigns for Cody Rhodes. But now, after you watch Raw on Monday night, Seth Rollins comes out with a super dope promo, pretty much pleading to Cody, man. Nah, you pick me, you go against me. This is the working man's title. It was just super dope. That whole maybe one of the best, probably the best promos I ever seen Seth
Oh,
Rollins
that
deliver,
was
man.
that was
Ever.
beautiful to watch.
It was it was awesome, man. And so it looks like we may be getting Cody and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania after all, for real, which to me is the better match. You've seen what those guys did a couple of years ago when Cody returned to WWE. They had had their like trilogy of matches, tore the house down. Those two work really well together in the ring. You can get them at WrestleMania and the main event at WrestleMania. That'll be a match that people will remember. I think that will be when Cody Rhodes ultimately gets his moment, man.
I can
And
see
gets
the
his big
build
time
now.
WrestleMania moment and gets his title, man. It just seems like that's the way they have to go. After that promo Monday night, you got to give us that now. There's no way you can't. You can't divert from that. That has to happen now. And so look forward to
But I
seeing
think
that
it
at
will.
WrestleMania. And no,
I really do believe they want
it's
to do the
got to.
Rock thing.
You can't have that go down the way it did Monday night, and then all of a sudden don't give us that match. It has to happen now. It just truly does. So we'll
Well,
see.
technically,
Royal Rumble
weren't
overall
they?
was a solid show.
Were they? Did they fight for the title together at some point? Like, wasn't it supposed to be him and Cody trying to get the title together when they introduced the new title? Because I feel like their history, they had 3 banger matches, right? And then Cody goes down, and then all of a sudden Seth becomes they have this vacated title spot now, right? And they make Seth
That's
they
when
make
they had that.
yeah, go ahead.
They took Cody out of that with that Brock. Took Cody out of that with that Brock Lesnar bullshit
Yeah.
feud.
Oh, see, yeah, that's what. So that's where it should have been. It should have been last year. He should have went after Seth Rollins, and it would have been good. And this one you can build it up where he's not there. This could be the Rollins versus Rhodes on a pay-per-view on the main stage at WrestleMania, which they haven't been. Okay, and even if the title is predetermined, you're going to give it to Cody, you could still tear the house down because Seth Rollins, if he's going to drop the strap to anybody, it's going to be Cody Rhodes. And then Cody can go from there to Damian Priest or Shinsuke Nakamura, or whoever at that point, whoever you want to win. But if anybody deserves to, that he would probably love to lose it to, that'd be the guy. And then he could take his couple months off, heal his back, heal his knee, heal his whatever, and then he can come back as a heel or to do something later on down the road. But a title needs to change hands, damn it.
Absolutely, the title does need to change hands. As a casual watching the Royal Rumble, absolutely. I thought it was a pretty good show. Unfortunately, the way the title court ended, I didn't really agree with it. But we've seen it happen before.
See,
Koya, go ahead, Adam.
what I would have
Sequoia.
done, I know The Rock is a rumor, and I think that's really what's going to happen. But what I would have probably done was I would have kicked out the USA match. I would have put Gunther versus whomever, lose the Intercontinental title, have Gunther be pissed off, come down to the ring and win the Royal Rumble match and throw everybody over, and then go face Roman Reigns for the title, Gunther versus Roman Reigns, if they didn't have The Rock. I think that would be a marquee match. I really think Gunther has done very well as the Intercontinental champion. I thought it was pointless to put him in there with the title. If you weren't going to really do anything, I think the Intercontinental title he made it prestige again, where you deserve to get somebody who is going to be the next champion on that title. And if you're just going to squash him like this in this way, at least you should have had him won. And probably next year he'll probably win it all. That's going to be my pick next year to win it all. But I would have loved to have seen Gunther versus Roman Reigns with a pissed off Gunther going in there like, I want my title back, blah, 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 all this crazy stuff. Because I think Gunther is one of those superstars who is very talented and underutilized, and they put a belt on him and let him be an Intercontinental title, who I think has had a better title reign than Roman Reigns, because Imperium doesn't do the same shit as the Bloodline. They're just not as strong of a faction as the Bloodline, and he wins a lot of his matches by himself. So I thought that was a little disappointing, but I'm looking forward to more matches with Gunther and hopefully him becoming a title holder at some point. And Damian Priest, when are you going to give up the damn belt, briefcase already, man? Like, who? Like that? That's what I mean. Like, if you're going to keep the title on Roman Reigns forever, we need a title that's going to change hands, like the fucking Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes things. Let it change so we can have some growth. The whole point of the WWE is the surprise. I don't want to go in there and watch the same fucking shit every week. That's why it got me. That's why I tuned out with the John Cena era, because all he ever did was win the title. There was no really exchange. Same thing with the Triple H era. All he did was win, 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 win. You're just like, all right, bro. Like, why are we even bothering to watch this match when we know the end result, right? So. I just think that needs to happen. You have too many good superstars, Drew McIntyre, guys like that. Get it together, Triple H. Obviously, the big scandal's happening too.
Yeah, absolutely. The scandals happening with Vince McMahon. As a casual, I thought like they did do respectable by these other people, such as your CM Punks, your Drew McIntyres, and even your Gunters of the world, because you know that the last, obviously, when it came down to those four, I would have been kind of upset. I know Adam's gonna hate me for this, but I would have kind of been upset if CM Punk was to win that, because
Why?
I just feel like you need to put in the work. Even though you came back, you still need to put in the work. And those other three competitors been putting in the work, and I was kind of excited to see Cody go
Well,
back, being that he's been putting in the work. Now, CM Punk, he came back. He came out on Monday with Raw. He did have a good speech. He did mention, losing in the UFC and stuff like that. And I did respect that speech, because he's just the people champion, and I could see his future going for a championship. In the near coming years could be possible. I think him and Drew McIntyre might have this whole beef now, so that's a good storyline. He might maybe appear on WrestleMania, maybe not as the main event, but maybe at a match with McIntyre. Who knows what could happen, what could open there. I do want to touch on Jay Uso as a casual coming back, and seeing him move the crowd both at the Royal Rumble and both at on Monday night. It just shows him taking another level to his WWE career. I can see the WWE eventually putting a strap on him. At that main event, he got the crowd. It kind of reminded me of Finn Balor back in the day, when he had the whole crowd doing that. And I don't know why they didn't ride with him as a champion, but they didn't. They went different directions. But it does look, as a casual looking in, that Jay Uso could be looking at a main event title here soon. Just because I mean, like, the crowd and the universe is buying into him. If I'm a promoter, I'm putting the strap on that guy. I do like how as coming back from not watching for half a year. I do like the respect that they're giving Kevin Owens, the respect that they're giving uh, Seth Rollins with the Universal Championship. I'm sorry, the Heavyweight Championship, and the respect that, like, they're giving the fans, because I don't know if this is every week, but some of these matches on Monday night was like, that wasn't your typical, like, that's some good matches. I hadn't seen that for a long time, and I just want to hope that with Triple H being involved, and him being in control, they kind of look like they got the ship sailed in the right way. So, any other last thoughts on the WWE, guys? Alrighty,
Good for right now.
alrighty. We're probably only almost wrapping up the show, and we're only 37 minutes in. But we'll probably just actually, no, we have a few more topics. We'll probably touch on the NBA real fast, guys, and then we'll probably touch on the championship games, and then we'll wrap the night up with the NFL honors. We do have a few takes on the NBA, so we're gonna take a couple of takes, and then obviously, Adam, if you want to touch on your team or any Pacific team or anything like that, feel free. And Matt, the same for you. So when we come back, we'll probably talk about the NBA. Let's get it. Alrighty, before we get into All-Star selection that just happened, and shout out to hockey fans. It's your All-Star weekend, and unfortunately we're not covering that today on this show, and unfortunately we're not going to be covering the Pro Bowl games, even though it was fun watching Thursday. And we have the lovely game on Sunday. We have the Senior Bowl. We have the North and West game with our offensive coordinator as the coach yesterday. If you guys want to touch on any of that, we can touch on it in the football segment. But for now, we're gonna talk basketball real fast, guys. We have Tyrese Hallenberger call in the threshold stupid. 65 games you have to play. If you don't play that 65 games, he's gonna miss out on $40 million. I absolutely he's on a limit restriction right now, guys. So he's actually came off the bench in this game today. But he is one of the premier talents in the NBA. He, when healthy, I mean, like, this guy can hold his own with any player on the planet. Lightly, I mean, like, Jokic will probably shut him down. But that being said, he's a really great player. And I want to get your guys' opinion real fast. I know we're not big NBA fans here. I know Jeff would have been all over this, but as for you, Mac, and as for you, Adam, do you like this? this 65 games that the NBA, being that there's 82, these superstars must play 65 games to get a bonus. What's your guys' thoughts on that? If you guys have any.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're playing a game and you have a contract incentive where it says you need to play X number of plays to receive your raise, then why the hell would I not? I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel you.
I mean, think about it as your regular job. If you have a job and you have a merit system, and they say, hey, if you hit such and such and such, such is how big your raise would be, or you qualify for a raise, or whatever the case may be, you're going to try to achieve that, right, over the year and get reviews. Well, same thing in the NBA. And what it does is it eliminates the product. Because for me, if I'm a NBA fan, right, and I got a deal on tickets, right, and I go to see the Indiana Pacers, and this guy who's one of the top stars is sitting out for no reason because he says it's stupid, right? But you sitting out because you're tired or that you need a rest day when you're like a 20-something-year-old athlete is ridiculous to me. Michael Jordan played wire to wire. You know, he was averaging like 75 games a year, right? Because that's what they did. They weren't just sitting here, oh, let me take a day off here and there. Now, if you want to reduce the schedule in the NBA to 65 games because you think it's too long, I'm not opposed to that. But again, I'm not saying you have to play all the games or if you're injured, you're legitimately injured. But there's some times where they've had rest days for guys like LeBron James and other superstar athletes. And to me, it's like if I'm a consumer and I have the NFL is different. The NFL, I only get 16, but in the NBA, I expect you to play. And I understand that you might blow out the Washington Wizards or whatever shitty team is out there that night. But I expect you to be out there. I don't expect to see your third string guys out there because that's not what I paid for. That's not the jersey I bought. That's not the, memory I want to sell my kid. I remember we went to that net game. Yeah, who was in that game? It was a priest. Like, no, like I don't like if I paid my hard-earned money to get to there, I expect you to play. And so I'm not necessarily mad at him, but the fact that you don't want $40 million is more surprising to me than anything. You calling something stupid where they're about to give you more money, that sounds stupid to me because I know that if my back was hurting, I'd be in the cold tub right now saying, yo, I can play. And then when I get to my 65 game thresholds, guess what? I can take a day off. I got my $40 million now, but at least get to your threshold. Like this guy's, I know I'm rambling on, but this guy's complaining about.
You're good.
He's complaining about it being stupid because he's not going to make out. He might miss out on the $40 million, but if that's the contract you signed, that's the contract you signed. So be a man. Say, you know what, I'll miss out on that $40 million because I know for me, and I'm not trying to talk about a guy's money, but I know if I was in his position and I'm looking at $40 million, I'm like, yo, I want that extra money. Because that's an extra house, extra car, extra whatever, extra, retire from basketball. I could just sit around and do nothing type money. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's dumb that he's complaining about getting more money. Like,
love that point. Go right ahead, Mac. If you have any thoughts on it.
Well, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it, but Adam,
You're good.
you just Adam said, basically how I feel about it, and it pretty much just continues to add on to why I do not fool with the NBA anymore. It's just more reasons why I don't. I just can't deal with it, man. I can't deal with rich guys whining and crying and just being dickheads, man, and not thinking about what they're saying. That's it. Adam said it perfectly. Get to your threshold. Boom. Then you want to take a night off here and there? Take a night off. But get there first. That's what it is. When you sign that contract, you were fine with it when you signed that contract. So don't call it stupid now because now you might miss out because you've taken this many days off here and this many
he gets
days
to miss
off there.
almost 20 games. You get to miss almost 20 games. You play 82, you're at 65. You get to miss almost 20 games. You're telling me you can't figure that out? Come on.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. He's as much as sorry, go ahead, Mac.
No, I was just gonna say it's just ridiculous. It's why it's part of why, like I said, why I can't fool with the NBA, man. It's just, to me, it's just these guys get more and more every year. It's just more and more drama with the NBA players.
I don't want to
guys are
play
just
for
total
$40 million.
Just total divas, man. And
Next year it's gonna be like
ridiculous.
Next year it's gonna be like the 40-game threshold. They're like, oh, I don't want 40. I can't play 40 games in the season. 40-game threshold. Like, what are we doing, man? You play a sport that, like, when I was a kid and healthy, I would play for hours on the basketball court. Just run up and down from, we get at the courts at 4:00 in the afternoon. We're running until about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, just straight, who's next? I'm next. That's what we did. We played for the love of the game. And to sit here and hear this guy who I don't know if he will make it or not, but the fact that you're saying it's stupid because you might miss out on it, $40 million, I go, you're stupid for not being able to suck it up and play 65 games.
Go ahead, Adam.
In a sport where you probably don't even have to start. Come on. What are you doing, man?
Yeah, that's basically what they're doing right now. Is they're putting him off. He's coming off the bench. He's been on a limit restriction. He's hurt. Okay, I'm not gonna say he's not hurt. He's officially hurt. But the thing is, you guys brought up a great point, a fantastic point. There wouldn't have been an incentive. There wouldn't have been anything in this contract if it wasn't a repeat injury. The reason why they had to put it in his contract was he was injured a couple of seasons, and then now it's like 65 games out of 82. That is doable. But then in season, when you do get hurt and your ankle is all rolled up or whatever the hell is wrong with his ankle, and you clearly can't play, but you're playing because of the incentive, totally understand. But I do agree with you guys. As a matter of fact, don't sign the contract if you're an injury prone player. Don't sign the contract as much as to try to dangle it over your head of you could get this, but if you clearly know you're unable to play that much games, don't sign the contract. I think Adam has something else to say.
Then your agent is stupid because look at Daniel Jones's agent. He put an injury clause in the contract because his newest client was a brittle piece of crap, and so that he would break down, he has an injury settlement, right? So the Giants, if they play him right and he gets injured, they have to pay him out money. Well, this is the same thing with this guy. The only thing it was reversed. They were saying, well, we don't want to not give you money, but you have to make a certain threshold of games. And now he's mad because, again, he didn't get the injury clause. If this was the reverse, right? And they'll be like, oh, he's going to hit his incentive $40 million even though he was injured. People will be like, what? Oh, my God. Would he be complaining then? No. It's because he's not going to be able to get the money because he negotiated a terrible contract. And unfortunately, freak injuries happen. You probably got a freak injury. Someone rolled up on your ankle, right? Or whatever the case may be that you're injured. And so you may not make that. So that's on you, homie. You sit there and you negotiate with your agent. And you say, hey, man, I don't like this deal. Well, you don't have to sign the deal. And maybe it shouldn't be public record that what he's getting, but they're putting it out there for a reason, telling you that he's injury prone. They're letting you know that he's missing out on $40, but him saying the word stupid, again, I don't have the full interview in front of me. So yeah. I'm only commenting on what he's trying to portray here. And from what that headline portrays to me is a person who is upset that he's not going to get his $40 million because he's not making the threshold.
It's basically it's not only in his contract, should I say? It's to wrap this up. He's a great young star, and he's gonna get his. But it came down to the NBA as a whole because they was tired of, like you said earlier, of these fans paying for these tickets and then going to the games, and then it's like LeBron sitting out tonight, Kyrie Irving sitting out tonight.
Right. It's a bad product.
That's exactly why these clauses are in most of these newer contracts to make these star athletes play these games. Absolutely.
I would do that like with a dunk contest. Like if you're within 5 years of your league, you have to participate at least once in the dunk contest or something like that. If you're a high, because I feel like we miss out on a lot of these guys because first off, no one ever really gets injured in dunk contests. So I don't know why they sit out anyways. They act like they're too cool for school. I understand like in the Pro Bowl, you want to tackle somebody. I get that shit because tackling is violent. You're in the NBA, you're dunking against air. Like, give me a break. You can't like give us a half hour of your time to be in the gym because we know you got some dunks. I mean, if you can dunk, we've all done it. I've tried it. You know, those dunks 360s. I've broken a couple rims in my day, some 8.5 foot rims. You know what I'm saying? But so under the leg, I did I did the Isaiah Ryder, under the leg. I've done some things, but I want to see these guys. That's why the whole All-Star is there. That's why you showcase your business. And to me, it's like when I watch the Pro Bowl and I see that quarterback challenge, I want to see Patrick Mahomes throwing the darts. I mean, obviously he's in the Super Bowl, so he doesn't get there. But I want to see Herbert, if he's healthy, throwing those targets and doing those fun things. So that showcases your game. It gets people to see you. And why do you have an all-star game if you're not even going to name all-stars and half the people aren't going to play? Kind of is ridiculous to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
8.5 foot ribs.
Good.
Oh, Eddie. Awesome, guys. Awesome. So let's move on. If you guys we're done probably talking about Tyree. Oh, Eddie.
I'm sorry. It just came out so good.
You're good. Alrighty. That being said, we're gonna move on with the All-Star selections. Now we do have some players that didn't make it. Like Seagon, he's been playing out of his mind. He didn't make it. Like Stavonis, he's been playing out of his mind. He didn't make it. Like Trae Young, dropping 33 points and 15 assists today against the Suns. Trae Young didn't make it. So those are three young studs that didn't make the All-Star list. I want to get your guys' thoughts on the All-Stars. The roster selected. We have a lot of first-timers. I believe there's 3 first-timers. And we'll just go down it. We'll just go down the list. And then after this, we'll probably recap the football games that happened this past weekend. But these are the selected All-Stars. We got Team LeBron versus Team Giannis again. For Giannis, the starters are Giannis, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Halliburton. We just got done talking about him. Damian Lillard
he's playing?
Jason Tatum. Yeah.
He can play in the All-Star game, but he can't make 65 games during the year. Give me a break.
No, he's playing. He's playing today. He just came off the bench. Bench.
Get your 65. Get your 65 games in, young buck.
And then we got Team LeBron. The starters are Luka, Kevin, Alexander. Of course, this guy's been playing phenomenal. And then we have Nikola Jokic. Now, let's just talk about these starters. We don't have to go into detail, but I agree with most of them. I mean, like, there's barely any that I would remove. These are the cream of the crop players right now in the NBA, and they deserve to be there. Do you guys agree? Do you guys have any thoughts before we move down on the list?
I mean, it's like 70 points, 60 points, 60 points. Like, nobody plays defense anymore. All these guys, Joel Embiid, I love the guy. 70 points from a big man in this era of basketball. What are we doing? What are we doing here? My God, I got Devin Booker. It's Devin Booker's on here. Jason Tatum's on. See, I like Jason Tatum. I will say this. You want to talk about a guy who's a tease? Jason Tatum's a tease. Like, 1 minute he'll look like the dominant player, and then the next night you're like, where are you, bro? We need you. You're playing like the Atlanta Hawks and getting dominated. Ran out the damn building because he freaking can't find his fucking shot. And then he finds it in the fourth quarter and gets 20 points, but you've lost the game because they run you out the building. It's like, what are you doing to me? Here's the guy.
They've made him a team this year that he can't.
There's my guy, Halliburton. Hey, no, I don't want to play during the regular season, but hey, I'll play during the All-Star game. I will play during the All-Star game. I get my All-Star money. I'll get my All-Star check. That's how that works out. But man, I don't like how they do the stupid team thing. Like, just give me the East versus West, and let's just go. I'm sorry. I know I rambled, but geez. LeBron James, man, does he ever want to retire?
Terrible. Once again, another concept. Just, for what? For what? So you telling me in the All-Star game you can literally have teammates playing against each other potentially, and
so dumb
with this format and this concept.
This week, this year, it was fans voted. It was fans voted this year with Team LeBron and Team Giannis again.
Well, you know what it is? It's to keep the young hipsters in the game. We gotta switch it up for the young kids. God forbid you're on the same team. You represent the same conference. Barkley and these guys are on the same side.
We're gonna let Mac finish because we do have some bones to pick. But go ahead, Mac.
No, I mean, The All-Star game is also a joke. There's no defense. I mean, hell, they don't play defense in the NBA that much anymore, period. But in the All-Star game, they're definitely not getting any defense. And why not make the All-Star game mean something? Like the baseball All-Star game. Had the East versus the West. Have the winner represent, get the home court advantage in the finals. Make it mean something. Make these guys go out there and give them a reason to go out there and play a serious basketball game and put on a show for the fans, man. A proper show. And also, you know what? I'm just annoyed. NBA, I'm annoyed with you. I can't stand you. Can't stand the modern NBA. Big men don't get dirty in the paint no more. Nobody's getting. They don't get the ball down in the blocks.
No one's
Let
getting
people just go to
elbowed.
work. Watch the big men go to work. They're just going out there, just big men flying around the perimeter. It just looks unnatural. It looks weird. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? You look at the All-Star ballot now. They don't even have center on. They just took the position away like it doesn't even exist anymore. It's come on, man. What are we doing here? I'm over it. NBA, just forget about it. Not a
Well,
fan.
see,
Not a fan at all.
the NBA is the only game that could be like a video game. Like you have Madden and that's cool, whatever, right? But the NBA is like a freaking video game because you can put these guys together. Devin Booker playing against his teammate or all this stuff. Like it's just ridiculous to me. And the same players are always like Tatum and Brown. Those guys are attached at the hip. Are you kidding me? How are they on the same side?
We do want to touch on some. You guys are making absolutely great points, and I love
Jalen
it.
Brunson.
But we must touch on Pablo making his first All-Star appearance. So shout out to him. We got Jalen Brunson
I don't
and
know who the hell
Tyrese
that
Maxey. Tyrese Maxey and Jalen Brunson. Tyrese Maxey's playing out of his mind, and Jalen Brunson carrying the Knicks right now with Randall out. So shout out to both of them.
Man, does anybody
all
play
three of them.
defense? Everybody has averaged over 20-something points I've seen from the top down. Like everyone on the All-Star team has 28. This guy has 28. This guy has 26. That guy had 34. This guy, Julius Randle, 24 points. Like, what are we doing? Nobody has where the rebound is per game, no double doubles or nothing. What is going on? And then the hairstyles get worse and worse. I mean, the one guy looks like Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings. That guy Pablo, blah blah blah. I'm like,
Pablo. He's young. He's a young
trash
stud.
ass.
Definitely been showing up this season. I do want to point out too, losing organizations. Victor wasn't selected. He should have been an All-Star. Wasn't selected because of a losing organization. We got Seagun wasn't selected because of losing organization.
It's a
So I
popularity
noticed.
contest.
I noticed this year it was a lot of if you had a losing organization, your athlete wasn't selected to the All-Star game.
That's crap.
That's where I think is crap as well.
Listen,
But
I was a Giant fan for many years, and when I went to the Pro Bowl and we were like 5-11, damn right I watched that shit for Jesse Armstead. I knew we were shitty, but damn it, I was there for Jesse Armstead and Michael Strahan. So
Darian Fox not selected. Trey Young not selected.
exactly, you need to be on there even if you have a losing team because they called it All-Star game, not a select the favorites game. He probably has more points than some of these guys over here.
Oh, definitely. Like Cole Anthony Towns, he's a great player, but I would remove him and get Sabonis in here. How is Sabonis not in here? We don't know. But that is the NBA talk for you guys. Any other NBA before we move on to our main event? Well, main event is an NFL talk. Any other
NBA? The NBA pisses me off.
all right. I love it. I love it.
It pisses me off because when I watch that shit, it just is like there's no heart. There's no nothing. The guys are running out the build, 20-point leads, evaporating heartbeats. Like heartbeats.
It does.
Like what are we doing here?
They got big men.
Right.
I keep going back. The big men are soft now.
Soft.
I'm just sorry. They're not tough guys. Back in the day, the big men were the tough guys. They were the enforcers on your team. Now these guys are just weak. You guys want to shoot threes all day long. I want to sit out here and shoot threes. I'm not going to go in the paint and use my big body
I broke a
and
nail.
bully you around. None of that.
I'm out on the DL.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't know what I'm watching.
It's a mentality thing.
I'm just
It's a
watching.
mentality thing. You know why? Because we've been giving out trophies since the jump street. This is what happens when you give out participation awards and you make the kid on the team. You know what happened when I was a kid on the team? If you were big and taller than everybody else, you were the fucking center. That was it. You didn't learn the other skills everybody else did because they gave you the ball and all you did was dunk on everybody. Like, go. Listen, you're like 5'9" in first grade. You're getting the ball and being the friggin' center, right? So you didn't have to learn all the fundamentals. Now everybody wants to be a guard. I want to be Steph Curry. I want to shoot threes. I want to hit bombs. Blah, 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 blah. I want to see you dunk on somebody. Put your balls on somebody's forehead as you go to the fucking rim. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
Exactly.
Okay? Over the head.
Exactly.
Posterizing a motherfucker. And when you see that poster, all you see is a man's nutsack on top of your head. And you're like, damn, kid, that guy just got posterized. Okay, that's what I want to see. And I saw a few times this season, a couple guys have had that moment, and I'm liking that, but I need more of that shit. Aaron Gordon, I see you, homie. You're supposed to be dunking on cats. And you're sitting here running up and down the floor with the fucking Utah Jazz. Give me or Denver Nuggets. Give me a break.
There's definitely some solid points you guys made. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on a rant.
Oh, no, you're good. I would say that was a premium take you just made. I would say that, there is so much games. There's thousands of games in the NBA season, and you do get those moments you guys are talking about, but very few with, a small percentage of all the NBA games. We need to see more of that. Balls in the faces, what Adam said. All right, that being said, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about, we're not going to preview the Super Bowl. You guys can give your pick, obviously. Go ahead, Matt.
Real quick, Wales. I would much rather watch a Premier League game because those guys get physical. I watch them all the time on USA, on TV. Soccer games on like damn near every day. Mostly on Saturdays, all day long, and they be getting loose. The Premier League, they be playing hard. Like I said, these guys in the NBA, soft as cotton now, man. Look, I'm not going to knock. They're great athletes, but they soft as cotton, man. Look. I just ain't got no time for it.
I agree with Mac on that. I'm watching, and the fans are a lot crazier in the stands too. So that's another reason why I would be watching.
The PLG, the Premier League, definitely soccer, definitely the world sport. What is your team, Mac? If you have any.
I mean, I don't have a team.
I did. I did.
I just watch casually.
You just watch. I love it. And I honestly,
I'm a Manchester United fan.
Manchester United, nice.
Ever since I had Andy Cole and Dwight York and Ryan Giggs back in the day, that's been when I first learned about them. They were the first team my brothers introduced me to, and I thought they were cool. So the Red Whites.
Absolutely, I love it. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you guys I'm an NBA fan. This is the time I really get concentrated and fixed back into NBA. The draft is coming up, so it kind of kills. There's not really any sport going on outside of the NBA. So this is the time of the year when the Giants are not in the Super Bowl. When I get hardcore back into the NBA, All-Star Weekend is here. Even though it's a joke, it's still fun to see these premier athletes. As much as the boys, they're absolutely correct. This is not no Space Jam, back in the day NBA where we had some dogs. These are little puppies, but I'd love to see these athletes run so fast and do these amazing things. I wish there was more aggressiveness. Sometimes they get flicked. The breeze comes and they want to call a foul because they got something in their eyes. When you look at the replay, nothing touched them. But that's just the NBA we have nowadays, and you couldn't make that shit up. We've seen a lot of flops. It's just, dude, nobody touched you, dude. You got something in your eye there?
Era of the flop.
But yeah, that being said, we're going to end the show at the NFL honors. But before we do, we're going to touch on the conference championship games. And then we are going to have a Super Bowl special. You guys are more than welcome to give your Super Bowl picks this show. But we're going to have a Super Bowl special. So if you guys can hold it, that would be absolutely amazing. When we come back, I guess we'll touch on the first game that was the AFC. When we come back, let's get it. So, AFC Conference Championship, Mac, take it away.
AFC Conference Championship. What I keep telling y'all, man, you never bet against Mahomes, okay? Playoff Mahomes. Look, Mahomes is just a great period. Like I said, he's the best at what he does, period, in the world. No other. There's no better quarterback playing the game of football, American football, anywhere in the world better at the quarterback position than Patrick Mahomes, man. Look, this man has probably the most mediocre supporting cast he's had his entire career thus far. They had a really rocky, rough up and down regular season. People were counting them out. People were saying, saying all kind of crazy things about the Kansas City Chiefs. Their time is up, all this, that, and the other. Get to the postseason, they got to do something that they're not used to, haven't grown accustomed to having to go on the road in the playoffs. Did that, check those boxes as well. Patrick Mahomes is going to always give you a chance no matter what. You could put him on any team in the NFL, and that team would become an instant, legitimate, somewhat of a threat. Any team. Because that's the difference maker that Patrick Mahomes truly is. And this game was just no different, man. He went out there, and he did what he had to do, man. And he got it done on the road in Buffalo. Once again, proving
In Baltimore.
like I said, Baltimore. Baltimore. Thank you. Wrong B city, but
He did it. He did it in Buffalo as well.
road in,
He did it both. He did it both.
yeah, he did. But in Baltimore, and sure, it helped out that Lamar Jackson had maybe the worst game of his season. And just Baltimore was completely out of sync, couldn't get it together, man. But at the end of the day, was there any doubt that you thought that if Baltimore was able to go up in this game, Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to find a way to still will the Kansas City Chiefs back to a victory? I know we're all tired of Taylor Swift, but look, we got to deal with it one more game at least, because that's just it is what it is. Patrick Mahomes is just truly that good. I don't want to just keep making it all about him, but it kind of is, man. He's the difference in these football games, man. He's that, like I said, was held this team together. This team definitely had their struggles, man, all season, and Patrick Mahomes right now he's like I said, he's the ultimate difference maker. That's why he sits on a tier all by himself. There's nobody on the same tier as Patrick Mahomes right now in this league. So the great quarterbacks, there's only one Patrick Mahomes, man. I felt the need to just, kind of give y'all all this Mahomes love because I just, I just respect greatness, and I'm not gonna, I see greatness, and I know that it's right there in front of me. Got to speak on it, man, and it's just facts. Like I said, we talk about other people and having adversity, dealing with adversity or not. We've seen Mahomes on both sides of the fence. We've seen him with the big time weapons all around them, and we've seen how gaudy the numbers were when it was like that. But now we're seeing him having to grind out and figure out other ways to get the job done. So it's just like I said, you're just watching greatness right now, and I can't bet against the guy until it's proven otherwise, until somebody proves me wrong. He lost to the Super Bowl to Tom Brady, the GOAT. You know what I mean? And he lost to a gritty Joe Burrow in Cincinnati in the AFC Championship game a few years ago. Other than that, Patrick Mahomes he's just money, man, in the postseason. Clutch, money, and I just can't bet against that guy, man.
I love it. I'm gonna probably go next, and then I'll let Adam finish, and Adam will probably start the NFC conversation for us. Right after the graphic. But I'm gonna agree with what Max said. And I want to touch on that. The loss against Bengals. It's the defense that kind of let him down, and the loss against Brady. He was out 3 offensive linemen. So I'm not making excuses for the guy. But what I will say is the defense of Kansas City, man. I think this is one of the better defenses he had throughout his 6 years in the NFL. Even though it's not the household names, we have a lot of young studs that is showing up in big situations. There's been a lot of change in KC on defense over the last couple of years, and these new pieces that Spags has to mess around with is no jokes. These guys are all younger than 25 years old, and me personally, I don't know them by names. I could list them, but I'm not, because I just know them by names. I don't study the game enough. But what I will say is seeing them play as one cohesive unit, and being able to do to teams over the span of the year. Of course, like, it was a rocky road where we all at one point counted Kansas City out. At least I did. But to see these defense rise over the last couple of games is absolutely phenomenal. So shout out to the defense. They're part of the reason. I know it's a lot to do with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, but they're part of the reason that why they are represented in the Super Bowl. And I do want to say I found it kind of funny. Like, I'm not, Ravens fans are gonna hate me for this, but it was so cringe how, like, these players from the Ravens, they kept on coming out for like inspiration. Like, in the third quarter, there was one point where like Terrell Suggs came out with like his championship ring and like showing the fans, like, what's that gonna do, bro? You can't play the game. Like, I understand you want to motivate your players, but you want to. It was so cringe. Like, it was so funny watching these. Like, it's like if it was in a playoff game and we had like Michael Strahan on the sideline, and on the big monitor. Like, it was just so cringe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand you're trying to hype up the crowd, yeah, trying to hype up the home stadium. It's been a long time since you guys hosted a AFC Championship game, but nothing was gonna help you guys beyond the people on that field. The fans was as loud as they could be. It's just the players on the field, they didn't perform in the situations, in the biggest situations. And at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson, man, you're a great player. You're obviously a top 5 quarterback. And Max said you just had a really one of your worst games, of the season. It happens. But the road goes to Kansas City. If you're an AFC team, you should be building your roster to beat the Chiefs. Okay. And as far as NFC teams, like, all these mofos will want to build rosters to compete in the playoffs and fun it, and we want to draft this guy, and we want to draft this guy. It's such a joke. It's such a joke when we have Patrick Mahomes waiting for us in the Super Bowl, no matter what the NFC does. Okay, so as Giants fans, I love it. We want to get our quarterback and we want to hope to build the dynasty. But guess what, guys? Yeah, those one already made, and they're waiting for us in the Super Bowl when we get there. So as Giants fans, let's draft some players that could compete against the Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, because it doesn't look like Andy Reid is going to retire anytime soon, and it doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes is going to lose anytime soon. He's going to 6 years straight representing in the AFC Championship game. Go right ahead, Adam.
Andy Reid is gonna ride that Patrick Mahomes train, brother. As long as that Patrick Mahomes train is still pushing, brother, he ain't going nowhere.
All you're doing is proving what I said. Right, go get your guy, man. Because it doesn't make just. I know Mahomes is there, and Mahomes is going to have the effect that Michael Jordan had on a lot of players in the NBA. They're going to be great, and then they're going to beat the Bulls in the finals, and it doesn't make them any less great. And just sometimes you beat the Bulls in the finals. Hey, the Giants beat Tom Brady, so there's always a chance. But you need that guy that you can trust, that's going to be able to go toe to toe. Because what happens is what I call the Mahomes effect. And Lamar Jackson had the Mahomes effect happen to him on Sunday when they went down and scored Kansas City right quick, and Baltimore gave the ball right back, and then Kansas City went right back down and scored again. They were down 14-0. Guess what? The whole complexity of the game changed. Lamar Jackson's whole thinking changed. He was running his first drive. He was sick. He's breaking tackles, throwing dimes all over the field, right? Throwing that huge bomb touchdown. Then they're down 14 points, right? And they has to start to press. And he's sitting there and he's holding the ball along, waiting for something. Even the announcers are like, "Hey, you got to take off and run. Start to run." And they kind of got out of their element. They didn't run the football that well, right? Kudos to Steve Spagnuolo and that defense. I mean, that guy has had game plan after game plan after game plan. We talk about Mahomes, but that Kansas City defense got the ball back and they put it in, right? And they shortened the field. See, what you're seeing right now with Mahomes is what good quarterbacks do, okay? They make players around them better. and they give you a chance in every game. But this wasn't a masterpiece offensively for the Kansas City Chiefs. It wasn't like they were going up and down the field. They were shut out in the second half. They were shut out in the second half of this ball game. They did not score another point, maybe a field goal. I'm not sure when they got that 17, but
no, I think they got shut out in the second half. I think you're right.
The second half, there was a total zero burger, and the Ravens had chances to win. They didn't execute. Fumble Zay Flowers, you fumble the ball. How do you fumble the ball down there at the goal line like that, man? You just got to run through that tackle and get hit. Don't try to dive. That's a game-changing play. They want to blame Lamar Jackson for that interception. I think the fumble was worse because that was in the beginning of the stages of the game, and that was a knockout blow that kind of knocked him out of the game early, and that's what changed the complexity. And then now you're looking at Lamar Jackson, and he didn't play. It's not that he played a horrible game. It's just he played the game that wasn't Lamar Jackson, which was he was in the pocket. He waited. He made decisions. The Kansas City defense bottled him up. And what happens is when you don't have a run game and they don't believe in you and they have a spy covering you, they don't have to do anything, right? That Kansas City front four got there with Karlakis and everything like this. They had to bring some blitzes, and it was because of confusion and things like that they got to Lamar Jackson. But that's the difference is when you're playing against Mahomes, you can't have mistakes. Why? Because he's going to beat you. He didn't have you look at Mahomes' numbers. He had a Mahomes game, but it wasn't like if you look at the grand scheme of things, he wasn't throwing the ball all over the yard. He made
30 for 39, 241 and a touchdown.
Right. For those numbers, 30 for 39, you throw him. You expect him to have 300 yards, 336 yards, and like 4 touchdowns. Right? He had a solid, efficient game. And it was so good that it took the other team out of their game because he was just that good. He made the plays when he had to. He made the plays with his legs. He ran for first downs, right? He got the third and shorts going when they needed them. They scored and punched it in the red zone when they had a chance. Because think about this. If they don't get that fumble in plus territory, and let's say the Ravens punt, right? They may only have – this may be a 10-10 ball game. Right, because that one play really sealed it. That's how good this defense was. If you love defense, this was one for the ages defensively. Because in this era of football that we play, the Madden football, to have two teams come away scoring 10 and 17 respectively, you got to give hats off to both the defense. Spagnuolo, I don't know why this guy's not in the coaching circles. He's just done a fantastic job ever since he's been with Andy Reid's defensive coordinator. He's as much as part of those Super Bowls as Andy Reid is. Without his defenses coming up with big stops, the Tyrann Matthews, the Joneses of the world. Now that they got Karlakis going on, I just really think this team is good. And Andy Reid, give him credit. His team is well coached. They don't make mistakes. They force you into mistakes. They get into your head because you have to press. It's when you play a good team. It's like when you played the Colts in 2006 when they were on a rampage. They scored so much that they literally took an element out of your game. You could not – the reason why that defense was the way it was for the Colts is because they didn't have to stop the run. They literally took people out of the run game because they're scoring 14, 15. They're out scoring people. Well, in this day and age to play defense where you're only scoring 17 points with two of the best quarterbacks in the game right now, and you get 27 points respectively by the two of them, hats off to that defense.
Facts. All right, guys, when we come back, we'll preview the Lions in San Francisco, and then we'll go and talk about the NFL honors, and then we are done here. But yeah, when we come back, Lions in San Francisco, let's get it. Alrighty, go right ahead, Adam. You can begin this one, and then follow him. Will be Mac.
This is a heartbreaking loss for me if I'm Detroit. Because you didn't lose this game because you were out-talented. You lost this game because you were out-coached and on stupidity. Just straight stupidity. Okay, now, we're going to talk about the egregious plays. They moved the ball up and down the field. They ran the ball with Jamar Gibbs. He fumbles. That's a big play in the game. That was a big momentum shift. That kind of took the sails out of him. But then going for it on 4th and 1s and not getting it, and giving up those points. Yes, you can tell me all you want about Reynolds dropping the football or an errant pass here. You take the points because guess what? You make one more of those field goals, you're tied right now. We're maybe talking about 34 tie, maybe a punt. You go twice and you go 3 times and don't make it twice. Come on, man. Those are the bullish things that cost you. And the funniest part is I thought he learned his lesson in the first half of the game, where they were going up 27-0 or 27-3 at halftime, and he had 4th and 2 inside the Niners red zone area, and he decided to kick the field goal. I was like, man, he's learning something. Then it came press time, and the 49ers are making their comeback, because that's what good football teams do. They find a way to get stops and make plays. They get paid on the other side too. People forget that defense came alive in the second half. They kind of made their adjustments, and then in the second half, they shut you down, and then you couldn't do anything. And the opportunities that you do have, because they were few and far between, all you had to do is keep padding your lead. You don't need to be aggressive there. You don't need to try to go for 2 or do whatever you're doing. You're just going to play the odds of just kicking a field goal. If your team had missed a field goal, I'll take that. I can blame the kicker. I can live with the kicker missing a field goal. That's going to sting as a fan, but I can live with that. I can't live with sheer stupidity of doing a play like that. You know what I mean? I get the aggressive nature, but it wasn't like you were behind. You were ahead in the game. Just keep padding your lead. Put the pressure on them, because if you keep kicking field goals and putting the pressure on them, their game plan changes. Right? Now they have to pass. Maybe you get to tip the ball and get an interception or something like that. Maybe you get to Aiden Hutchinson was having a pretty good first half. Maybe he comes back to life because they can't run the football the same way anymore. You really changed the game on those plays. The fumble didn't help by Jamar Gibbs, and you can argue putting Montgomery in might have changed that. Who knows? Things happen. The Lions showed you that the moment was a little too big for them. That's really what it comes down to. When your team gets beaten by like that, is because you're not sharp. And I feel bad for Dan. I feel bad for the city of Detroit, because I really do think they had a chance against Kansas City to beat them. Not because they beat them in the first game, but I just legitimately felt if they had beaten 49ers, they were going to be destined to win the Super Bowl. But here we are. And on the other side, you got to give some credit to Brock Purdy. He hung in there. He's not the best looking quarterback, but he hangs in there. Like he keeps plugging away. I call him a worker, right? He just keeps working. Like it doesn't matter what it is, interception, whatever. He's just going to keep going out there and, just the little engine that could, I can do this. And he finally breaks through, and they have a solid game. And congratulations to the 49ers. Let's see if they can put it together. We'll see what happens. If they play like they played the first half against the Lions, they will be going home by halftime of the Super Bowl.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, good
Go
stuff,
ahead,
man.
Matt. I know Mac. He did call it a couple weeks ago. He did call some Dan Campbell stuff. So I'm gonna let him have his moment right now.
No, I mean, look, Adam said everything already. Basically, you said it all. I mean, Taylor two halves in this game. Obviously, Lions came out, dominated the first half of this football game. Going to the second half, they kind of just let the wheels fall off a little bit, and I agree 1,000%. Dan Campbell, you got to know when to hold him, bro. You got to know when to fold him. You got to know when to walk away, man.
Oh, I
Look,
love that song.
you can't be up 14 points. You're up 14, man. 4th and 1 in field goal range. How are you not taking the points and just adding to your lead? Like, that does not make sense to me. You have no reason to be going for it on 4th down in that situation. Like Adam said, you just keep adding points to your lead. The kicker misses it, like you said, then yeah, it's the kicker's fault for not doing his job. But at the end of the day, I get you've been that gutsy coach all season. This is what you do. These are the kind of moves you've made. But this is the NFC Championship game, man. You had the lead. Just continue to play with the lead, man. Like you said, keep the pressure on them. You have an opportunity to go back up by 3 possessions right there if you just kick the damn field goal. Like, you go for it, you get stopped, the 49ers go right down the field and score another touchdown. Like, that just completely flipped the game. You can't, I mean, look, as much as I respect Dan Campbell and, the moxie he's shown, like I said, you just got to know, when to make the smart decisions, man, the right decisions. And unfortunately, I hold him a big part of the reason why the Detroit Lions didn't win this football game. I just think his decisions as the coach really didn't do his team any favors here, man. And I don't really like to do that too much, like because I like to put it on the players on the field. But in this situation, man, Dan Campbell made some very questionable decisions that to me led to his team's demise ultimately in this football game, man. Yeah, shout out Brock Purdy. You did, like you Adam said, you hung in there tough and you came back and you made the plays you had to make in the second half of this football game, getting to bringing the 49ers back. But the Lions gift wrapped this one to them, man. And considering that they're still now the only team in the NFC conference that's never at least even been to a Super Bowl, it's just a tough break because they were just that close.
It's the biggest comeback in the history of the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, you guys laid it all out, and I love that. That was two premium takes, and there's nothing left to add, but I'll just add this. I mean, like, you guys are absolutely facts. It's right. I mean, like, it just comes down to the gambler that Dan is, When you're playing a team with explosive players like Christian McCaffrey, like Debo, like Kittle, like Ayuk, explosive. Either one, Christian McCaffrey can take off a 60-yard run like nothing. So when you're doing that, you just take the points, and it just comes down to experience. I love it. You want to get cute, you want to do this, but there's no time for that. You know what happened?
Regular season.
Yeah, you know what happened to Seattle when they got cute? Yeah, they lost the game. So that being said, like, there's no time for that. You don't see Andy Reid doing all of that kind of stuff against Baltimore. There's not like 5 trick plays run against Baltimore. Not saying Dan Campbell went out there and called trick plays, but there's a time and a place to take the points especially when you have a storyline. And I was rooting for the Lions most of the year, and I wanted to see Jared Goff get another one. Maybe I had him losing against Kansas City in the playoffs. I mean, in the Super Bowl, but I had the Lions represented, and he was so close. And to rob that from your players is absolutely.
And you may never get there again.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because before you go at him, because I'm sorry, Lions fans, you guys definitely have one of the premier offensive lines in the league, and anything can happen with that. That's not to be taken lightly. You guys have a phenomenal young defense, but there's a lot of NFC teams that is gonna get better, and as long as San Francisco is still San Francisco, sorry to say, but the road goes to Kyle Shanahan. As much as that we don't want to say that, that's true. The road goes to Kyle Shanahan, and I don't think you're ever gonna get that kind of half out of San Francisco again, because guess what? They experienced that and they overcome that. So Detroit Lions, if you maybe get through the Cowboys and the Philadelphias of the world, even though I don't think Philadelphia is going to be that good next year, or even if you get through other teams,
let's wait till they're not good before we.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you guys. That was your guys' game to represent, and you guys choked it. Go right ahead, Adam.
Let's wait till they're not good before we say they're not good. Every year we say they're not good, and they end up with a better record than us to make the fucking playoffs, right? So before we say the Eagles are not good, let's let them be not good. Okay. My point is that it's hard when you have a lot of teams, like you said, that are up and coming, right? Mm-hmm. And the turnover rate is so great in the NFL on the back end of teams that you can't guarantee that you're going to always be there. And when you make boneheaded moves like that, that costs people jobs, that costs organizations, championships. Like sometimes like this could spiral you because what happens is this, right? You have a bullseye on your back, you have a target. Everybody's going to come try to play you because you're the standard right now. You didn't beat the 49ers, but we know that if we beat the Lions, we're next up in the line in terms of mindset, right? Because they went to the end of the line with you, right? So to me, everyone's going to be gunning for you. They know you're a playoff team. You were the number 3 seed. You had 2 home games that you're in your building. Your expectations now cannot be let's just make the playoffs. Your expectations have got to be let's punch our ticket to the actual Super Bowl. Well, that's harder to do when you're not an underdog team like you were the last 2 years, where you're coming up out of nowhere and no one thinks you're going to be a winner. And all of a sudden now this year you go out and you beat Kansas City and you beat these teams and you end up getting there. That's a lot of work. And to try to say, let's do it again. Let's hope they have a great free agency, right? Let's hope they put it together and then they do it. But you have the Packers who are going to try to retool. Yep. You have the Bears who are going to be tough out with their defense.
Atlanta's going to be good one of these days.
Seattle, you have the Saints who are still fighting. You have the Rams who might come back. You have the Commanders who might do something. I'm not even going to talk about the Giants because I'm not.
We're not gonna. I'm looking at teams to be the Lions.
Well, the parity in the NFL is really
parity, exactly. So teams to be that. I don't want to drag this on because we're going to end the show soon. But teams to be the Lions next year. I look at teams like the Falcons. They have a defense. They have a tight end. They have a wide receiver. They have a running back. We don't know about the quarterback. We don't know about the head coach. The head coach looks promising, but he hasn't taken this is his first gig. So that being said,
this is his second time.
Second time, but you get the point. But that being said, Adam nailed it. It's the parody of the NFL. And before we move on, I would want to say, it's yo baby, what's up, Cosmic? Moving on, I would want to say, shout out to Mr. Irrelevant, man. That guy knows how to process. And there's something about him and Kyle Shanahan that reminds me a lot. I know you guys are gonna call me crazy. I'm not comparing them to Belichick and Tom Brady, but it reminds me of that relationship. And when you take a great head coach like Kyle Shanahan, and you put him with they traded the house to get Lance. They traded the house. And for him to go to the owner and be like, yo, I think our best quarterback on the roster is this third round pick, this third string quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant. And this way and then when you build a team, when you have a team, the road goes to Brock Purdy and the road goes to Kyle Shanahan for the NFC. So as much as we beat them and we have Mahomes waiting for us, that's tough being an NFC fan and being a New York Giants fan in that. But we'll digress. We'll get better one of these days, and we'll be able to compete. All right, guys. Any other points? So we're going to move on to our final topic. It shouldn't take that much longer.
I'm good right now, man. Let's go.
All right. All right, NFL honors, guys. Next Thursday, but we're gonna preview it now. We're gonna make our predictions now, and then we'll come back next Friday on that Super Bowl special. We'll show off who won, all of these wonderful players, and then we'll go into the preview of the Super Bowl next week, Friday. Special episode. Make sure you guys want to tune into that. MVP. There's the list. Hopefully, you guys can see it. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna start with Mac. I want to know your MVP. Who do you think's going to win it?
As much as it pains me to say, I think Dak Prescott gets the nod this year.
Ooh.
I think, his regular season numbers were just tremendous. So I believe all these guys are pretty much deserving these nominees. They are.
How competitive Mahomes out there?
I just think Dak Prescott is going to.
I don't think they consider him to have an MVP type season, Adam.
Yeah, his numbers were down. Definitely, his numbers.
They ain't watching.
He is that offense, but go ahead, Mac.
Exactly. No, I was just say so. I think Dak Prescott's going to get the award, get the MVP this season.
Alrighty, I love that pick. What about you, Adam?
I'm going to put in the write-in ballot. I'm going to put Patrick Mahomes as the MVP because right now, what he did with that team and what he's done, he should technically be the MVP. But of course, it's more of a regular season statistic. And if that's the case, then I have to give it to Dak Prescott because he had an absolutely phenomenal season. When most people, not me, said that he was a shitty season and be washed and completely out of the woods and not doing nothing, he had a good season. I want to say one thing, right? Good quarterbacks with great players become great quarterbacks. Great quarterbacks with great players become, phenomenal type of quarterbacks. What I'm saying is don't let talent fool you from what these guys do and what they accomplish. Yes, they have guys that enhance what they do, CD Lambs and things like that. But look what Mahomes did. He took a bunch of nobodies and still had 4,100 yards and 27 touchdowns. It matters. It really does matter that those guys, when those playmakers get the right quarterbacks, they become legends themselves. Jerry Rice doesn't become Jerry Rice without Montana and Young. Irving's not Irving without Troy Aikman. You know what I'm saying? When we look at Tim Brown, who threw the ball to Tim Brown? Ain't nobody really knows there's Tim Brown. You know what I'm saying? He's great, but nobody does. I don't know all his quarterbacks. You could say Rich Gannon, a couple guys like that, but no solidified like guy with him. And then you have a few other guys: Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, and Andre Reed. List goes on and on. So just wanted to point that out. That just
Odell and Eli.
True, they were a good tandem. They broke records at the beginning of the time together. So just wanted to let people know that your quarterback does matter because he makes those players that we talk about exceptional players and Hall of Fame players. So
I love it. Good stuff, guys. It's really hard for me. I do want to say Christian
No, it's not.
McCaffrey, but
Dak Prescott.
but I don't think Christian McCaffrey. I don't think they're gonna give it to him. I think he's gonna win Offensive Player of the Year. We have Josh Allen. 15 rushing touchdowns on the year, something ridiculous like that. We have Lamar Jackson. Obviously, he's rushing over 800 yards. All of his rushing touchdowns. I believe he had 5 great numbers by Lamar Jackson. Wouldn't be surprised if Lamar Jackson wins his second. It pains me to say this, but god damn it. Dak Prescott is finally going to win MVP. You guys are going to get us right, Dak Prescott.
You're one of the guys that told me he was
I was watching after the fact and when you was debating, and I watched the full episode, Adam, and I love the fact what you were saying because yes, I was a hater. I did hate on Dak Prescott. And I also, that's right. I apologized already, but I did call you negative when we was talking about Daniel Jones, and you end up being right on both. So that being said, shout out to Adam. Let's move on, though. I believe that I'm gonna start with Matt because he might have predicted this one. We got Defensive Player of the Year. These are your picks. Matt, who do you got winning this one?
Well, my initial pick for this award way back when we did that show is on the list as one of the finalists. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get the nod, though. I don't think he's going to get it. I think Myles Garrett is going to get Defensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett was just an animal all season long, man. Consistent week in, week out. Just, getting after it. He was ferocious. And I just can't. I don't know. I just don't see him. I don't see anybody else right now on this list other than Myles Garrett really coming home with this award, man. Myles Garrett was the man all season long. Not to say all these guys are all great. I initially thought I had picked Michael Parsons in preseason, but I got to give it to my man Myles Garrett, man. He did some crazy things in Cleveland this season, man. All year long, just wrecking games, single-handedly wrecking games. With all the quarterback issues that team had, he put that team on his back defensively, man, and just carried the load, man. I got to give it to Myles Garrett.
Well, I'm going to be a little different here, and I'm going to go with Max Crosby. And I think what Max Crosby did for that Raiders team, with the turmoil that they had to still put up 14 sacks, still have a good season, still be the leader of that defense, and out hustle everybody on the field. That guy, whenever you watched a Raider game, he was in every camera frame shot that the defense would have a swarming tackle. Guess who's in there? Max Crosby. He's the guy you want to lead your defense. He's got Raider written all over him. If I'm a Raider, you're a Raider for life. That guy's got a name for a Raider. He's got the look as a Raider, and he rose to the occasion of captain. And if Myles Garrett doesn't win it, which he is deservedly so, I'm not taking anything away from him. They went to the playoffs. My second, the guy that I would give the award to just out of sheer what he's done overall for his team, I think Max Crosby earned it as well. Obviously, I'll probably be wrong, but that's the guy I'm going to pick just to be a little different and changing up. But I thought he had a great year.
Good stuff. I'm going to stay at my pick. And I picked him, TJ Watt, and TJ Watt's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Enough said. All right, let's move on. I'm just joking. But I really think as overall, not only with the sacks, just like what Max said about Myles Garrett, and I do like that Myles Garrett pick because he could easily win it. But with TJ Watt, he's just as effective. He had a lot of quarterback hits, he had a lot of tackles for loss, and then you add in those sacks. Absolutely amazing. He is the defense. Him and Fitzpatrick. Absolutely love the Steelers. What they have there, what they're building there. We have Arthur Smith just became the offensive coordinator there earlier today. So I know we're talking about defense, but just wants to add that chime in. But yeah, TJ Watt, I have him winning. That being said, let's go with offensive player of the year. You go right ahead, Adam.
Offensive player of the year. Wow. Interesting.
It's a good list.
It's kind of tough when you look at it. I mean, because Tyreek Hill had a monster season. Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. CeeDee Lamb, again, proves Mac wrong of being a number one receiver. And that's why he's on this list. It's because he heard Mac criticizing him for not being a number one. So CeeDee Lamb's really sticking. I'm just kidding, Mac. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to give it to Dak Prescott.
You guys should too.
Christian McCaffrey, I think, is going to win it for what he's done overall for the team and how he kind of is a difference maker. Tyreek Hill does a lot of explosive things, but I think Christian McCaffrey does more, if that makes any sense. He just, he runs the ball, he catches out of the backfield. He's basically their engine. When there's a check down to be had, a big play needed, they're going to this guy. And he had a phenomenal year this year. This is the reason why. Yes.
Probably going to be on Rookie of the Year.
Puka Nacua should be on that list. He probably should be next to CeeDee Lamb.
He should.
Go right ahead, Mac.
He was dynamic. But,
CeeDee Lamb.
I mean,
you picking CeeDee Lamb?
I'm not. I'm not doing that. I mean, CeeDee Lamb had a tremendous season. No, nothing against CeeDee.
I don't mean to laugh, but Mac knows why. Mac knows why.
He deserves to be. He deserves to be a finalist. He's earned that spot, at least being on this list at least. But I'm right there with you. Christian McCaffrey for me is going to get this award. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is a legitimate MVP candidate with the things he did this season. And I think he's not going to win the MVP award because he's not a quarterback. That's just, we know how that goes. But Offensive Player of the Year, that's why pretty much you have this award, because that specialty player, that other non-quarterbacks player that's like an MVP nominee that they're not going to win the MVP over the quarterback.
Right. This is what it's for.
This is their prize. This is their prize. So Christian McCaffrey, this award is for you. And I believe he's going to get that. Tyreek Hill definitely, I would say, gave him a run for his money, though, with the things he did. But I feel like Tyreek Hill's season kind of began to plateau, and then just wasn't. He was still doing some dynamic things, obviously, because he's Tyreek Hill, but not quite as dynamic as he was in the earlier part of the year. So I think this is definitely Christian McCaffrey's award. Yep.
You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was muted. Thank you, Adam. I'm going to have to agree. Enough said. Christian McCaffrey will probably take home Offensive Player of the Year. Moving on, there you see Puka. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Man, this is such a hard one. This is such a great list, man. I love this list. But for me personally, I'll begin. As much as you did great, as much as you a bomb. Like, I love Sam. He's great. You're awesome too. You're fantastic, but you're a damn quarterback. So CJ Stroud is gonna win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Go right ahead, guys.
No doubt about it. CJ Stroud don't need to do much. He came close to breaking a lot of rookie records. Got his team in the playoffs, and the most important position on the field is the quarterback position. And if he wasn't on this list, it'd probably go to Puka Nacua, but he is on this list. So CJ Stroud, you will be AP Offensive Rookie of the Year. Congratulations, my friend.
Absolutely. Got anything
to
say on that,
man?
man?
I agree. I mean, no, it's not unfortunate. I agree. CJ Stroud for sure. I mean, like you said, he's the QB on this list, and that's just the point blank in the period. But any normal season, it's not even close. Puka Nacua would have been a slam dunk Rookie of the Year in any normal season. I mean, his numbers were through the roof. Like he said, he could have easily been a nominee for Offensive Player of the Year legitimately. That's how dynamic that young man was all season long, consistently. It did not slow down. When Cooper Kupp returned, this young man still did not slow down. He just continued to stride. I mean, his season was special. It truly was. Honestly, and CJ Stroud's season was very special as well. I wouldn't even be surprised because these two were so dynamic that they
should
may
be
have to
close.
split the bill here, man. They may have to, tie this one up, man. I mean, it's tough to just defend Puka Nacua not winning Rookie of the Year. That's a tough ask with the season that young man had.
They should be co-rookie of the year. I don't know if they'll do that in the NBA in the NFL, but
we don't take participation trophies, guys. Only one winner. No,
I mean they've had co MVPs before, so
true that.
So I don't see why this could be any different. I just think it's just tough to deny
That'd be nice to share it.
And part Rookie of the Year honors with the season this year. I mean, you talk about CJ Stroud breaking records. Puka Nacua also broke several rookie records as well. This season, man. So,
and the fact that he's a 5th round pick, that's probably a big.
Yes.
Like CJ Stroud's the number 2 overall pick. Puka Nacua's, I don't know, 100 something. You know, the fact that
it goes to show you guys, you know, when you're watching the combine coming up, like the reason why he didn't perform at the combine is because he twisted his ankle or he was injured or something crazy like that. So he didn't perform at his best. So that's why he fell within the draft. There's so much hidden stories going on in the NFL that, like, guess what, guys? The combine, the underwear Olympics is not the be all end all. There's good teams that evaluate these players, and you never know what we could grab in 5th round. Tyreek Hill, wasn't he another 5th round pick?
Yes.
Michael Thomas was.
But that's why I say you don't need to go for the receiver at number 1 when you can find guys like Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Tyreek Hill.
Justin Jefferson wasn't the first off his board.
Cooper Kupp as well. These guys are being made differently in college where they're running more pro-style offenses and route trees. So you don't necessarily need to get them big time because you can find them down the road. Damn, there's so many awards.
Yeah, we're nearing the end of it, though. Defensive Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna have to give it to Witherspoon. I could be wrong here, but I think Witherspoon was pretty much a shutdown in Seattle. He came into the league and he absolutely performed. I didn't really do that much research on Turner, but Jalen Carter's right there too. And it's how did you ignore Jalen Carter?
Well, Kobe Turner could win it. He's actually had a good year.
Yeah, I'm going to say Witherspoon because I know him the best. Because I'm stupid. I didn't do that much research on these other guys. But Anderson's right there too. But I'm going to say Witherspoon. I'm going to hand the mic off. I don't want to take too much time.
Well, I'll say Jalen Carter probably could win it, but I don't think he will. Joey Porter, he did okay. Kobe Turner's interesting because when you look at his numbers, he's got like 9 sacks. And you're like, what? How did you do that? He's playing next to Aaron Donald. He had a phenomenal year. He came out of nowhere. I would not be surprised if he won Defensive Rookie of the Year on that. They probably will give it to Witherspoon because of the 100-yard touchdown he had against the Giants, and he was pretty much a decent cornerback that way. But Kobe Turner was pretty good player. So if he happens to win, I wouldn't be surprised.
What about you, Matt?
Well, gentlemen. In the preseason, you know, we do what we do, that we make these predictions wait before the season starts. And way back when, you know, August sometime or whenever it was.
Go look it up.
Yours truly, Macdagiantsfan. Yes, there is video evidence of this. I said Jalen Carter, Defensive Rookie of the Year. He has made his way to this list, deservedly so. Young man was a disruptor in the middle of that Eagles defense. Made some serious noise.
I need to. You need someone with winning lotto numbers, Mac.
And these young men, all these young men on this list, to be honest, they've all had some big moments this season. They all have indeed. But this year, what makes this award a little tougher because there wasn't any like just that. You know, usually there's always some guy that's like Micah Parsons rookie season where you just. You know what I mean? It's him. It's this guy. You know, just like a year ago, Sauce Gardner. I mean, the things he did, like you knew Sauce Gardner was going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. You didn't have to think about it. You know what I mean? That's what makes this a little interesting here because you guys are right here. Devin Witherspoon, it wouldn't like shock me obviously if he won it. Kobe Turner, like you said, Adam, good year. Good year as well. Will Anderson did some good things. Joey Porter Jr. These young men, they all did. But I picked Jalen Carter back in August, and I'm going to stick with Jalen Carter right now. I'm going to ride that one out. And then I'll clip that up if Jalen Carter wins this award, just like I did. I'm
sure he's going
to win Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm sure he's going to look through that Rolodex tomorrow and find that clip and get it ready for if it happens.
I love it. We got coach of the year, we got assistant coach of the year, and then we restored
Assistant
third
coach of the
to
year.
the
What the
last.
fuck?
Associated Press comeback player of the year. We got Joe Flacco, Demore Hamlin, welcome back. Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, and Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going to begin. I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield. I know Tua's on the list, but I just think Baker Mayfield has an absolutely amazing comeback for where he was on my list, ranking these quarterbacks. I kind of rid him off. And then he goes to Tampa, and yeah, I get it. He has amazing receivers, but it comes down to processing, and he damn did a good job. I'm not going to include Joe Flacco because even though he did good, he's still Joe Flacco. I'm sorry, Joe Flacco. I have an ill taste in my mind. So I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield. Go right ahead, Adam.
I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield as well. Even though Matthew Stafford had a quietly great year that he put together with that team with the Puka Nacua. Tua Tagovailoa, what is he really coming back from? I mean, yeah, he was injured, but I expected this from him. I guess you could give it to him. But Baker Mayfield was the most shocking to me because they basically had him written in the dumps and that he wasn't going to play anymore. Damar Hamlin, what he did, he's recovering from. That's tragic what he went through, but I don't think he played enough snaps for me to give him comeback player of the year. It's a good story. It's a phenomenal story to come back and play in the NFL and, live your dream. But for me, I can't legitimately say, that he came back and when I think a comeback player that you flourished. It's one thing to come back, but if you don't do anything and you're on the bench or you get limited snaps, you came back. But why am I putting you in that player of the year? I think it has to do with you had a good season and you were injured last year like Baker Mayfield. Didn't have a great year.
Came back a damn assassin, bro.
Right.
He went to John Vick school. Cool. What was this?
Tua Tagovailoa, I can give it to him too, but I'm going to go with Baker just because I think what Baker did was far more incredible to me, what he did with that team than Tua Tagovailoa, because I kind of figured he would be lighting it up because that's what he was doing before he got injured last year. So.
Yeah, real fast before Matt goes, and I'm sorry, Matt, I should have let you start it because you went last time. I do want to say with Tua, you have the four fastest players at all the positions. You have the two fastest running backs. You have the two fastest receivers, and it's your injuries is what kept you. So I get it why you're on the list, but same can be said about Mayfield. But it's like we knew you could put up numbers. It's just your injuries kept you away from the game. But go ahead, Matt.
Right.
Well, I know I shouldn't really have a bearing on this, but up until the wild card round, I was all ready to get us the old man Joe Flacco, man. I mean, he kept that Cleveland team afloat down the stretch. I mean, he absolutely did. I mean,
shit the bed.
What they needed him to do, and he put up some tremendous numbers along the way. I mean, and then to come out there in that wild card game and just look like old.
I think that's why
the guy that played for the Jets a year ago, that was just absolutely terrible. I mean, it just made me have to
turned into a pumpkin.
Evaluate that whole thought process. I'm not ready to get this guy any kind of an award. So I mean, Baker Mayfield, you guys are right. That's when I'm right there with it. This guy went to sign with Tampa Bay. Pretty much, people thought, myself included, thought this is where he's going to die. You know what I mean? This is where the Baker Mayfield story ends. He goes to Tampa Bay, follows up Tom Brady, and it's just not going to go well.
Man, Mac,
but
you need to motivate more players.
He took them lemons and he took those lemons and he made lemonade, man. And he
CeeDee Lamb, Baker Mayfield.
I think Baker Mayfield, man. He just, I got to give him this comeback player of the year because he truly came back from what looked like it was going to be the end, and he's earned himself some more years in the league. So
whatever you do, don't badmouth Daniel Jones. I don't need him to have any motivation, but.
Oh, I love it. Mac, I'm gonna let you begin on this one. Coach of the year, all great candidates on this list. I don't know why. I don't know why. Homie, why is Andy Reid not on the list? But it's fine. But go ahead.
All great candidates, all good, strong candidates. But to me, it's not even to me. This one is a slam dunk for me. It has to be D'Amico Ryans, just bringing this team back from absolutely nothing, from last place to first place. Yeah, it's D'Amico Ryans here, man. You got you got your quarterback, you got your leader, your offense, you got a savage on defense and Will Anderson. You just really turned that team into a real threat in the AFC conference, and it's like that team could potentially be a threat for years to come, man. So it's D'Amico Ryans to me, and I don't think anybody else should get any real serious consideration. Not to say that these guys aren't all great coaches, but D'Amico Ryans took a team that was expected to do nothing and had them, and they not only won their division, but they went out there and they had a good showing in the playoffs as well. Well,
I
until you know,
I absolutely agree
until they
with you.
didn't.
I'm gonna say D'Amico Ryans wins it. If Ryan Dable can win it, D'Amico Ryans has to win it. So I'm gonna say D'Amico Ryans. Go right ahead, Adam.
I'm going to take your D'Amico Ryans and I'm going to raise you a Kevin Stefanski. The only reason I say that is because he had 3 different quarterbacks play for him. He kept his team together. They still made the playoffs. Now, again, they were one and done in the playoffs. And I'm not trying to say D'Amico Ryans take anything away. I think you guys are going to be right. I'm just playing a little devil's advocate here for what he had out there, right? He had P.J. Walker as a starting quarterback at one point in his season, and that team looked dead to rights to not playing, and they get Joe Flacco, and they turned it around and still kind of put it together. And they were a crappy team the year before as well. So if D'Amico Ryans probably isn't on this list, I guarantee it's probably going to Stefanski. So that would be my runner-up would be Stefanski's probably. I'm going to just be different and pick him. Your points are great. I'm pretty sure D'Amico's going to win it, but I'm that guy who's going to take that risk and bet on black.
I love that risk. To be honest, guys, we don't have to do this, but since this is an award, I guess assistant coach of the year. There's a lot of coaches on here.
Spagnuolo not on there? Like
Spagnuolo is not on here, and because he's a coordinator. These good coordinators. This is just messed up. So if you guys want to answer, you guys can. If I have to guess, I'll go with Jim. I'll go with Jim because of the defense. I get why Baltimore. I get Ben Johnson's on here, but then I'll probably go with Jim. What do you guys want?
I'd go with Steve Spagnuolo. I think he's done a better job than everybody on here. Ben Johnson, I guess, would probably is going to win it because of what he did with the Detroit Lions. Jim Schwartz, while I do like Jim Schwartz and what he did with Cleveland, it's probably going to go to the Lions and how much publicity they had this year with, Ben Johnson, the offense, Amon St. Brown. If he wins AP's Coach of the Year, it's just going to bolster his, head coaching candidacy next year, saying, hey, by the way, I won AP Coach of the Year. And then he'll come out probably next year and dominate again. So now Jim Schwartz, I will say he's probably my runner-up. And a close third also is Bobby Slowick because of what he did with CJ Ryan, but CJ Stroud, but I'm going to go with Ben Johnson.
Absolutely. And Mac?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Ben Johnson probably is going to ultimately win this one, but I'm going to throw a nod in there to Mike Macdonald, man. That Baltimore Ravens defense, underrated unit, man. Underrated unit most of this season. They played some serious football, man, over there on that side of the ball. And
they did. They were fantastic.
As you see,
look, they have 2 coordinators on there.
Going out to Seattle, taking that head coaching job. And so I think Ben Johnson is ultimately going to win it, but I think Mike Macdonald, I wouldn't be shocked if he maybe surprised some people and got the W.
I love it, and shout out to Todd Monken too, coming in from Georgia and doing what he was able to do. So,
but two guys from the Baltimore Ravens, wow. That's 2 guys good team.
And their coach.
And their coach of the year. Wow. So
and their coach. And their quarterback.
The Ravens, man, like
Wait, to be nominated. No, Zay Flowers wasn't on here.
To be nominated for a lot of these awards is pretty amazing to show you. I mean, unfortunately, they're not in the Super Bowl, but it would have been nice to see them there and get a lot of those accolades as well. I didn't mean to cut it off. I just thought it was interesting to see all 4 of those guys from one team and nominated in damn near every category.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we are nearing the end. That was supposed to be the end, but I forgot the opening of the show. Every Friday we're gonna come with topics to open the show. The mini topics. I took notes. These are just me gonna run through it. We're not gonna really discuss it. It's just topics that happen throughout the day on this Friday. We have hockey. So hockey's gonna be back in the Olympics, 2026, 2030. We're gonna have hockey in the Olympics. So shout out to the NHL. Let's give the NHL a round of applause. We have Corbin Burns. Corbin Burns did get traded to the Oilers today. So all you baseball fans, if you like Corbin Burns, big deal. He got traded to the Oilers. Tyson Fury.
How do you get traded to the Oilers? There's no Oilers in baseball.
Orioles. I'm not a baseball fan. Whatever that team is. Orioles. Whatever. Orioles. Whatever the hell.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Edmonton Oilers in hockey.
Okay. That being said, we had Tyson Fury sustain a cut.
You can see this.
He is gonna Tyson Fury has
first week with this segment.
First week with the segment. I'm really messing up. And they're supposed to go at the beginning of the show too. All right, Tyson Fury, this is a cut. I gotta get serious. These are announcements, man. These are announcements for the day, guys. All right, Tyson Fury, this is a cut. He's out. His fight is postponed. And then we got Victor Vanderbilt, the Lakers. Another injury. They are down. I don't even know if they had 8 players to play a game. Them and Memphis both down to like 7 players on roster. Man, it's hard to be a Lakers fan right now, and it's hard to be a Memphis Grizzlies fans right now.
I'm sure it is.
Those are the announcements. And the final announcement, I'm going to give a special shout out to this guy. This guy, we might know him. You know, we might, his name might sound familiar. This guy's been in the NFL forever, been on 14 different teams. So let's just shout out Josh Johnson. Let's give Josh Johnson a shout out. Because it's forward. These announcements. I'm making me laugh. These are the daily announcements.
Why are we shouting out Josh Johnson? Why in the hell are we shouting out Josh Johnson?
List, man. We got to give him a special shout out. 14 different teams.
Does he play for half the league?
We have gone off the rails. We are honoring. This must be the bum segment of the show. We are honoring bums
for surviving the NFL cut.
Shout out to Josh Johnson.
He's had a chance half the league, and no one's wanted you half the damn league.
Congratulations! You know he played like 14 years in the NFL. He's been on like 14 teams. That's insane. That's like every year on a new team. You're like flirting with the news. And there are some teams he was there twice. He was there once, cut, went to another team, cut, and then went back to the other team. Like, you're honoring this guy for being a fucking scrub, for being a roster.
Some people don't make it 2 years, Adam.
Next week, I am finding the most obscure NFL player in the league, and I'm going to put him on the fucking announcement because this guy is getting praised for being with the half. Look at this. He was on the Ravens. Look, he went to Tampa Bay. He's been on San Francisco twice. Okay, he had the Sacramento Mountain Lions.
Shout out to Josh. He's a survivor, man.
Look at that. New York Jets, Indianapolis, Buffalo, Baltimore, New York Giants, Houston, Oakland, Washington, San Diego, Detroit, Los Angeles Wildcats. Oh, no idea. Back to San Francisco, back to the Jets, back to Baltimore. I mean, does he get credit for going to those teams again? Like shouldn't they just put like San Francisco and just like put 22nd? 2012.
That's why all of the ones in blue is the first time he went to that team, and then when it's black, that's his return into that team. But
he did the San Francisco 49ers 3 times already, man, and we're praising him on this show.
Played in the San Diego.
Great job, great job for barely making the cut.
Absolutely. Guys. That's gonna be the show right there. I do want to say one more thing, dude. Shout out to the Canadian football players playing in the Shine game yesterday. That was nice to see. Hopefully they get a chance in the draft. That being said, I'm gonna pass the hosting duties back over to Mac, and let's end this the proper way. Let's get it.
Yeah, we're not Shrine Bowl and Josh Johnson. Get out of here.
Wow, yo, Josh Johnson, man. Josh Johnson. That's how we wrap this thing up tonight. Guy played for half of the league.
He had a tour. He had a tour of the NFL. He was like the taste tester of the NFL. Oh, I just wanted to try. I wanted to try seafood in San Francisco. I wanted to try, the clam chowder with the Patriots. You know what I mean? Like, I was eating pork rolls with the New York Jets. Like, what are we doing here, man?
Whole division.
You know what it was? It was
There's going to be a documentary series called the Josh
was
Johnson
because-
series. And this is why all our fans left, because we're talking about Josh Johnson. It's going to be a Josh Johnson series. It's going to chronicle the 14 teams he's been on in the 14 years he's played in the NFL and 2 fucking Canadian teams, by the way.
It was because Jim was at John's game and Jim seen he seen Johnson.
Stop it. Just stop. Mac, take us home.
Nice to see you, Johnson.
Take us home.
I remember he used to
Look, everybody, I want to thank y'all, everybody, coming out Friday night, chopping it up with the Horsemen once again, man, on this edition of the Premium Takes Podcast. Yeah, fell off the rails a little bit late here in the show, man, but I'm glad y'all hung in there with us. Throw them 4s up for our guy, NYG, Jeffy T, man, no doubt indeed. I'm Mac the Giants fan. That's Zion Zenith. That's Adam Costas. We'll be back next Friday talking all that Super Bowl talk, no doubt indeed.
Josh Johnson's got a Super
This
Bowl
has been
win.
the Premium Takes Podcast.
Josh Johnson was in Adam.